is RJ Moreno, running back.
This is Noah Drum, wide receiver.
This is Mason Meyer, defensive end.
This is Johnny Knight, defensive back.
This is Dylan Cahill, slot receiver.
This is Gage Leggett, defensive back, and you're listening to Georgetown Eagle Football on SHN Sports.
Hey, good afternoon, Burger University, Georgetown Eagle fans. Give me a round of applause if you guys can hear us out there. Well, friends, I wanted to welcome you to week number 2. You missed the first week because it was decals with Dad, so week number 2. We're back here in the Burger House, as we like to call it. We're going to be here all season long. I'm your host, Rob Hipp, also the play-by-play radio voice of the Georgetown Eagles. Can we also give a round of applause for our host here at Burger University? Thank you, ladies, so much for the fine work y'all do, and Carmen. And you guys that have been here in the years past, you said, man, the seats are empty. What happened? Well, Matt moved to Arizona. So I like to keep people clapping. Can we please give Matt a hello back in Arizona and thank him for the work that he did all these years? We miss him, and thank you, Matt. Well, Georgetown coming off of a great week 1 victory. We've got a great show lined up here this afternoon for you guys, and I want to talk quickly about what we saw last week. But before we do that, we've got to get head coach Jason Dean. So come on, Coach Dean. Let's give it up for Georgetown Eagles head coach Jason Dean. As Coach Dean makes his way up, you know, we've always called this the Burger House. I don't know how that started, Coach, but yeah, you can sit right here. So that's how we started calling it here, and all season long we're going to be talking Georgetown Eagle football as the season goes on, and this is a show for the community to help highlight the kids that are here as well. That's why we do what we do here at SHN. But Coach Dean, go ahead and give me a sound check there. We'll
Test 1 2.
Go ahead again, Coach.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2.
There you go. Gotcha, Coach.
Sounds great.
Well, we're talking, Coach, a Wiley team that came out of 4A, Georgetown picking up the victory on the road in Abilene, 31-7 this past Friday. Coach, this was a Georgetown Eagle team that only gave up 1 touchdown, and that was in the first quarter. They shut out Wiley the remaining 3. This is a team that I just said, as you know, just moved to 5A, a quality win. Jackson Seosin, the senior, 23 for 39, threw for 247 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns, only 1 interception. He also rushed for a touchdown. Javante Rodan, 5 carries for 46 yards. That young man averaged almost a first down a carry at 9.2. And then Coach X, Xavier Torres, 25 carries on 93 yards. On the receiving end, he's in the house tonight. Noah Drum, 11 receptions for 140, averaging 12.7, also a touchdown. And then Dylan Cahill, Dakota Cahill's younger brother, also here at the Burger House tonight. And Isaiah Fillmore, each logging a touchdown. Coach, to start, let's talk about, I'm assuming you're impressed with the victory. I don't want to jump ahead on my descriptions of the game, but assuming you were impressed, how impressed were you with the defense in the opening game? Again, only allowing that 1 touchdown and shutting out Wiley in those final 3 quarters, Coach.
Well, just, Rob, first of all, just thank you so much for doing this and being here. You know, Rob's asking for everybody else to clap for everybody else. How about we give it up for Rob Hipp and HSN?
Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
These guys are great supporters of our program, but great supporters of our kids and our community, and we so appreciate him and SHN Sports for all they do for us. You know, talking a little bit about the Wiley game, you know, everything that we tried to prepare the kids for leading up into that week, you know, I think all that stuff we saw that in different forms, you know, last Friday night. The first thing is the long bus trip. You know, I mean, that's different for us. You know, there's teams that get on a 4-hour bus trip every single week. You know, I mean, that's kind of common out in West Texas or maybe El Paso or somewhere like that, but it's not for us. And so, you know, our kids getting on a bus trip and going 4 hours, you know, 3.5, that's a big deal. And, you know, I called on our seniors to be good leaders, show our younger players how to travel, show our younger players, you know, that it's a business trip on the way there, then we get to have fun, you know, on the way back if we go and take care of business, and we did. I told our guys when we got out at Brownwood to eat, I said, man, you guys have done a great job up until this point. You know, let's get back on the bus, let's take a nap, listen to our headphones, whatever that looks like for each individual player, and let's get ready, you know, for the next leg of this trip. So I thought our seniors, you know, did a great job of that, you know, getting our players focused and ready to go play. You know, when we get there, Wiley, the first thing is they got a nice place to play. You know, I'm not sure how the press box looked, you know, up there from your end, but it was a nice place to play, a big giant jumbotron, down in the end zone that was really cool. So it was a nice place for our kids to be able to go, and open up their season. A lot of people talk about Abilene Wiley. It's easy to see why Abilene Wiley has been so good in Class 4A for so long. They play 5 teams, just like we do. Many, matter of fact, us and only one more, Cedar Park, are the only 2 5A teams in Central Texas that play 5 teams.
Wow.
So we have a sophomore team. Wiley is able to do that. Their numbers, they had 60 plus, on the varsity. Their numbers are really good. So it's easy to see why those guys have been so successful for as long as they have. Not to mention their head coach has been there. We talked about that a little bit last week. Been there for over 35 years and has done a great job there with that program. So, we're not going to play what some folks want to classify as a lowly 4A opponent.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to play a quality program with a lot of tradition that has done well for themselves, and I really think our kids responded well to that.
And Coach, something that many may not know, it's kind of a special trip for you because you get to cruise right through your hometown of Santa Ana, Texas, man. So pretty exciting. And we actually ran into Coach and the kids at Underwoods. How many of y'all been to Underwoods? Can I see a show of hands? Galen was with us. He writes the stories and does stats, and Galen is still raving about the peach cobbler from that place, Coach.
It's good stuff. We met there at Underwoods. My mom and dad are from just down the road in Santa Ana, and drove up to meet us there at Underwoods and just eat with us and get to visit a little bit. And one of our coaches kind of smarted off to me and said, "Hey, we're going through Santa Ana." I said, "Yeah, we're going through Santa Ana." He said, "Well, are they going to have the fire trucks and the police escort outside of town?" I said, "No, I don't think so." Well, my dad heard that. My dad serves on the volunteer fire department there. He's been there for 40 years. My dad heard that. Well, he just made one call, and I'll be danged if the fire truck wasn't sitting on the edge of town, as our charter buses roll through and we get an escort through downtown Santa Ana. I tell our kids are kind of wondering, what is that about? And I said, well, we didn't want to get stopped by the traffic, So there's one stoplight in downtown Santa Ana, and it didn't stop us. We were able to roll right through with the fire truck leading us through town.
Well, that's awesome. And for the first time, one thing I forgot, is there any first-time guests here tonight? Can you raise your hands, and can we please give those folks a round of applause? I think a couple in here. Anybody? We'll just clap anyways for people that are listening. Thank you. As we continue on here, Coach, Matthew Anderson, linebacker, 5 tackles. Nick Petter had 7. Coach, can you talk about your linebackers this year and specifically how they played in this first game?
Sure. That was a big question mark, coming into spring football for us, having a brand new core of linebackers. Got some, returning defensive linemen, got some returning secondary players, but really all that linebacking core was going to be new, and I thought those guys did a really good job. That probably leading that group right now is Taylor Beal, a move-in kid that we've had that moved from the state of Washington down here, made it in time for spring football, and really showed us through spring football that he could play. Had good knowledge, of the game, but is really a fast player, is a physical player, and just, loves the game of football. Johan Salas played really well in there. Matt Anderson played really good. Jack Sheeneman played really well. I'm probably leaving, somebody out of that mix, but I thought those young linebackers really showed up and played well in that 3-3 stack, and were aggressive and were good tacklers for the most part, like we needed them to be.
Coach, the defense, they logged 3 sacks. You just talked about Taylor Bell. He had 2 of those. Isaiah Washington had 1. This had to play a role in forcing 3 interceptions. Can you talk about the defensive penetration on the offensive line of Wiley and how impressed you were with that? And we talked last year about that turnover margin. You've got to be happy to start out with those turnovers early in the season.
Sure. We told our kids all week long if we could not get the ball thrown over our head on defense, and if we could win the turnover battle, and for us that's just not turning the football over. And we did turn the football over one time, but anytime your defense gets 4 takeaways, we're still +3. Now in that category. So if we could do those 2 things, and then the third one was play well in the special teams, and I don't think we played quite as good in the special teams as what we need to be. We could talk about that a little bit more, but if any time you can line up and play good defense, and not get the ball thrown over your head, then you're going to have a chance to win. And just enough can't be said, enough great stuff can't be said enough about our kids and our coaching staff from the defensive side. Those guys had a good game plan. they went out and executed the game plan and just played really good.
Well, Coach, as we switch here and talk about the offense, putting up nearly 250 yards through the air, close to 150 on the ground. So if you add that up, that's close to 400 yards for a first game for the Georgetown offense. Can you first talk a little bit more about that passing game and then how important it was getting the running game established for Georgetown in this opening game of the season, Coach?
Absolutely. You know, we weren't as pleased as what we wanted to be with our offensive production. We struggled at times, and really we struggled at positions that it was their first Friday night. You know, most of those guys that we struggled at were players that were probably on the JV team, you know, last year. So it was their first Friday night. I think we had some a little bit of jitters, you know, getting used to some things. But when you come back out the second half, and I think that's really what is worth noting offensively for us. We came back out the second half and we're able to march down the field, you know, methodically, just right down the field and go score in our first two drives of the second half. I think that speaks well of our guys and what they were able to go back out and refocus. You know, we weren't as good. The players knew that as we wanted to be in the first half, but they were able to refocus, come back out in the second half, and really start getting things rolling for us. You know, X did a tremendous job carrying the football for us. Did a great job with his ball protection, you know, once we're able to get the running game established, then things start kind of opening up for us.
Well, Coach, you answered quite a bit. If just kind of summarizing briefly, a final talking point on maybe what you were impressed with, and then some things to take away and work on from this first game, Coach.
Sure, you've already mentioned one. You know, I was impressed with our turnover margin. You know, having 4 turnovers defensively is a really good deal. Able to protect the ball on offense, that's one thing that you got to preach, and we'll constantly continue to preach that. You know, our offensive players that are here today, they hear us talk about that all the time. You know, protect the football. But you know, those two things I thought were really good, and that's what helped us be able to, you know, the final score. That game's probably a closer game than what the final score alluded to. Mm-hmm. You know, a 31-7 game. That doesn't sound like it was that close a game, but you know, it was a 13-7 at halftime, and it was much closer probably than what the final score alluded to. So, you know, protecting the football, you know, led to, you know, us being able to come away with that thing.
Well, Coach, as we finish now wrapping up talking about that Game 1 victory, we're now looking ahead to the second game of the season. You know, the team now 1-0, a good start to the season for the Georgetown Eagles, but now we look to the Waco Lions. And you talk about Waco, going to be here at Birkelbach Friday at 7:30. They won their rivalry opener, a short margin, 29-22 versus University this past Friday. Georgetown, it's kind of a unique opportunity. Some districts, you don't get a lot of pregame, if you will. Georgetown, we get to play 4 games before district starts, so that enables you guys to kind of work through and see where things are at. Of course, coming up this Friday will be the second game. Can you first talk about those preseason games, if you will, the schedule, and kind of what led? I know some folks have asked, well, how do we determine what games do we play outside of non-districts? So can you briefly tell us and all the fans in here and those watching on the web stream what really led to picking these 4 teams to start the season before district play, Coach?
Sure. You know, I went into the realignment day. That's the first Wednesday in February. You go into that day with as many, and it's just a gentleman's agreement. You know, you've talked on the phone, you've emailed back and forth about people that you want to play, but would also be receptive to playing you. It's kind of like you're trying to find a date, and I went into that realignment weekend with 2 games. We had Waco had reached out to us and wanted to play us, and so we had kind of already had a gentleman's agreement with Waco. And the other game that we had lined up was Coppers Cove. We were going to play Coppers Cove week 3. When we got when the sheet came hot off the press and everybody learned kind of what district they were going to be in and how many teams and all that kind of stuff, Coppers Cove got put into a 9-team district, so they lost their week 3 game. They only needed 2 non-district games. So all of a sudden I'm finding, and to compound the problem, we ended up in a 7-team district. So I kind of went in just guessing that we would need 3. Well, we ended up needing 4. So I only had 1 game out of our 4 lined up, and so it became kind of a rat race trying to find somebody for us to play. Preparing for that a little bit in advance, I'd sent 2 of our coaches to another one of those staging areas in San Antonio just to kind of have some people on the ground there, looking. Coach Gandy called with San Antonio South San and said, hey, they're looking for a game. Looks like week 3. We also need a game. And so we're able to schedule, them kind of over the phone. Again, there's nothing binding there. There's just kind of a gentleman's agreement. And then through another friend that was there at the staging area in Round Rock, he had actually just got off the phone with Coach Sandifer from Abilene Wiley. They were looking for a week 1, got in touch with him, and so we were able to book Abilene Wiley. And then the other game, the Stephenville game, didn't happen until 2 days later. We kind of struggled around looking for a game, and really there were only 2 or 3 7-team districts in Class 5A in the whole state. And so your playing opportunities are limited. Now you start looking for people that also need 4 or more games in that. And so we were able to find Stephenville, and they agreed to play, and so here we are.
And if you guys have never seen or witnessed UIL redistricting live, we were there. We've covered it the last 2 years. I don't know if maybe describing it like opening presents on Christmas for the coaches, or is it more of a stressful time? Because
it's definitely stressful.
We told our guys there were cell phone numbers of coaches written on the whiteboards, and I was like, do not put that on the video because I don't want people to start to call these coaches personal phones, man.
Well, it is stressful. You're trying to find and obviously you want to find favorable matchups. You want to find somebody that you think, okay, I can play with these guys. Our team can go play with this team. You want to find diversity because you're looking for diversity getting into your district schedule. Obviously, not every team is going to be the same. And so you're looking for diversity. You're looking for teams that you're going to match up well against. And you're also looking for programs that have as many teams to play as you do. It doesn't do us a lot of good if we sign up for a team and they only have 2 sub-varsity teams. They have a freshman team and a JV team and a varsity team. Well, now we're left without 2 of our teams for games, and so now we're scrambling around trying to find games for them. So there's a lot of factors, that go into that, and finding folks that would be good for us to play.
Now, I know from our years of covering Georgetown, we played University before, but this isn't a University Trojan team that we're playing on Friday. It's the Waco Lions. Is this a team that Georgetown has faced in the past, Coach?
Not since that I've been in Georgetown. I'm sure at some point, probably in the 90s, Georgetown more than likely was probably in the district with Waco High back when they were in with Temple and Belton, and I'm sure Waco was probably in that district, but it hasn't been since I've been in Georgetown.
So, Coach, I know that you guys get a little bit to see what these other teams do. From what you've seen so far, without giving anything away, what are some of the strengths that you've seen from this Waco Lion team that the fans here and us in the broadcast should be on alert for, and any specific players that you're going to keep your eye on with this Waco team, Coach? Sure.
It's really fixing to be completely opposite of what we just saw in Abilene Wiley. We're fixing to see a very, very athletic team that is fixing to be extremely fast. They have a defensive end that's a quality football player. He's going to get us ready for district play coming in as far as in the offensive line. They've got 2 quality tailbacks that are they'll be the fastest kids on the field. This coming Friday night, so they can really fly. They've got a quarterback that I would say if he had his ruthers, he would much rather run it as opposed to throw it. But he can also throw. They've got a couple speedy wide receivers. But if you could wrap this team up in one word, it would definitely be athleticism. We're fixing to see really good athletes on our field Friday night.
Coach, what are some things that Georgetown's going to have to get established early in this matchup? You talk about a quarterback that sounds pretty mobile, so I'm assuming, of course, containing that quarterback, containing that run. Talk about some things you'll have to establish early.
Well, the first thing is we've got to force them to do what they don't want to do, which is throw the football. I don't think they're a great passing team. They do have some fast wide receivers they're going to just lob it up to and expect their guys to go run under it. Obviously, we can't let that happen. We can't get the ball thrown over our head, but we have got to force them into throwing the football. Which means you got to play great on first and second down, defensively. Got to make sure they stay behind the chains, and then offensively, we got to do what we do. We want to run the football and we want to be able to control the game with our passing game. We threw it 37 times the other night. I think that was probably a few too many. We'd much rather connect on more of those passes. So we stay just exactly opposite of what I just got through talking about Waco. We want to stay in front of the chains. If we can get into second down in short situations, third and short situations, then we've done a good job of controlling the ball.
Well, Coach, excited about that game. Again, Friday, 7:30 at Birkelbach GISD Athletic Complex. Coach, one final question here. a lot of people have seen, and of course we've seen, now many of the parents know, but some of the fans that just come to the games may not know this, but what does the team times 3 mean? I know what it means. Can you tell us what it means, Coach?
Sure. This is something I look for something every single year, whether it's reading a book or, maybe watching a movie or something like that. But try to give our guys something, a slogan, of some kind that we're going to kind of hang our hat on throughout the year. And happened to be watching, I think it was on the Amazon Prime, where it talked about Michigan's football season, last year. And one of the things that Michigan had up in their team room was, the great coach Bo Schembechler. He gave a speech when he's getting ready to play Ohio State, and it talked about the team. And it's too hard to break it out on the team all the time. And so I kind of shortened it and made it fit for us, the team times 3. But that's been our battle cry to our guys. Coach Schembechler talked about in his speech that no coach, no player, no man, no parent would be more important than the team. So every decision that we make in our organization has to be for the benefit of our team. And I think our guys have really bought into that and been proud of how they've responded, to that. Sometimes we make tough personnel decisions. We love kids but maybe they're not the best to help our team, right there at that moment. Mm-hmm. That's hard at times. But I think our kids, understand that it's about the organization, it's about the team. And, if every single player in our organization understands that and every single coach within our organization understands that, then, I think we got a chance to be successful.
Well, Coach, I think it's something that's important. It's a Georgetown program that the kids have bought into. The community obviously has bought into it, as we appreciate all the fans here and the attendance tonight. Coach, any final comments? And as this season gets started, any special words that you'd like to say to the Georgetown community, Coach?
Well, Georgetown, I say this all the time, and I hope people don't let it just go in one ear and out the other, but Georgetown is a special place. This does not happen everywhere. They're not having one of these every single high school across the state. Some of the good ones do, and I'm not going to say we're the only ones, but it certainly doesn't happen everywhere. And, just having a coach's radio show, that doesn't happen everywhere. And so it's a neat atmosphere to be in with our Georgetown, and really I think all of Georgetown athletics, but specifically our football team, just the support that the community gives to this group and to our players. It continues to grow each and every year, and it's just exciting to be a part of, and we're so thankful, for the community that we get to serve.
Well, Coach, we always appreciate you and your accessibility. You make my job easy, especially without Matt here now. Matt always had some good questions, and Coach Dean is a guy where you just ask a question and it fills the time, and it's always very useful information, Coach, and we appreciate it. And again, you make my job look easy, so thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for head coach Jason Dean and all the fine work that he does here in the Georgetown community supporting your kids. Thank you, Coach. Well, friends, as we move on, something that we do here at the Eagle Nation Coaches Show, as we've came to call it over the years, is we bring on some players of the games. Now, we pick players based on a number of factors, performance on the field, but also things they do outside of the program, and we try to spread it around a little bit as well so we can get all the kids recognition. Now, of course, if someone does great 2 nights in a row and they do exceptionally well, we're going to name them. So it's not like we just pick certain folks, but we do like to spread it around as we can. So first and foremost, please help me in welcoming our SHN Georgetown Eagle Offensive Player of the Game, the junior, Mr. Isaiah Fillmore. Come on up, Isaiah. And Isaiah has made my job easy when he's not on the field in uniform because I can see your hair, man. So thank you, Isaiah. And it's awesome to have you in the Burger House tonight, man.
Yes, sir.
So, well, Isaiah, as we talk about a Wiley Bulldog team, you had 3 receptions, 32 yards. And you may look at it on the stat line and say, well, that's not impressive because we don't want to single out some other guys. Noah Drum, had 140 yards and 1 touchdown. Let's give it up for Noah as well. He's in the house. Noah, great job, by the way, young man. We chose you, though, this week, Isaiah, particularly on offense because of the opening drive that really helped set the tone of the game. It's so important to start out with a good drive. It's important to start out with a big play, and you coming in and bringing in that touchdown. Before we get started, how many years have you been at Georgetown, Isaiah?
Freshman to junior year.
And where did you guys move from?
We moved from Florida.
Florida. Come on,
Yeah.
let's give it up for Florida in the house. Some oranges, man. I always know Florida because you see the orange, and I start thinking of breakfast and another drink that some of y'all have, you know, on a Sunday morning or Saturday before noon, if you know what I'm saying. You mix orange juice with something. We can't talk about that here on the Coaches Show, though.
Whoa.
Isaiah, how impressed were you with the victory and the efforts of your teammates, specifically on the offensive end, Isaiah?
After the game, I was just really pumped. I was super excited that we came out there and gave it to them. So, yeah.
And how important is it for you, you know, and your team to get established early and then you grab it in that touchdown? You know, at that point, it was a team that had already scored. You guys were looking to pull ahead, and you did. So talk about that and that first touchdown drive and how important it was for you.
I kind of just like ran the route, and I looked up, and I just saw the ball coming, so I was like, dude, I got to catch it or whatever. So
and it
just came down with it. So
and it wasn't an easy grab. I mean, you guys that saw the game, I was like, man, do we have another Caden Leggett in the house, man? Because you know, this young man just reached over, pulled it down, an impressive grab for that touchdown to get things started. Talking about this opening game, Isaiah, what are some of the positive highlights for you specifically, some of the positive things that you saw, not necessarily just for you, but for the team as well in this opening game, Isaiah?
I think we're coming together really well, and the team chemistry is definitely there. So,
you already answered my next question. How do you feel about the team chemistry, specifically talking about quarterback Jackson Sioson, of course, starting this year for the first time now and filling in the footsteps that Cooper Bell left? So how would you describe that chemistry from the quarterback and your fellow receivers?
I think we definitely have it right now. So, yeah.
See, it's short and to the point, man. That's what we like. Isaiah, going forward, you know, there's always things that you can improve on. So where do you think that you guys need to improve on going forward from this game one?
Just keep on moving the sticks and knowing what we need to execute out on the field is definitely a big thing.
Talking about the remainder of the year now, you know, we're only one game away. You've still got 3 preseason games if you look at it like that outside of district play. What are your expectations for the remainder of the year, Isaiah?
Just going out there and getting W's with the team.
Hey, I think we all want that, man. So getting the dubs is what it's all about, man. Talking about, you know, I like to ask you guys some personal questions too, because it's so cool to hear about your story and where you came from, and specifically talking about now, what were some of your role models growing up, and maybe even to this day, someone that you've really looked up to, or a few people that you've looked up to that really helped you start playing football, man?
My parents and probably Odell. He's like one of my favorites.
Odell Beckham. Come on.
Whenever
man.
I'm just sitting at home or whatever, I just go on YouTube and watch some videos and just try and copy what he does sometimes.
So just a junior, Isaiah Fillmore in the Burger House. I got to ask you, man, you've still got some time to think about this, but future plans, you know, is there a specific college you may be thinking about? What do you want to do in the future, man, once you're out of school?
UT is definitely my dream school. And what I want to major in, I'm thinking about, like, maybe coaching. So I think that's pretty cool.
Awesome. Your parents are in the house, right, man?
Yes, right.
Can you guys raise your hand back there? Hey, and is it Leo? Is that right? Leo put together an awesome highlight reel. Can we give it up for Leo, man? That was unbelievable. I think the folks at FanStand may be calling him saying, hey, can you help us out as well? Because Emily does great work, and now Leo in the house. So, well, Isaiah, young man, finally, who do you want to give a shout-out to tonight? The camera's right there. It's live on the web. We got 1.8 million people across the world watching right now. Who do you want to send some love to? A little shout-out tonight, man.
Shout-out definitely to my parents and the receiver corps.
Awesome. There it is, Isaiah Fillmore, Georgetown Eagle Offensive Player of the Game. Let's give it up one last time. We will have him and the offense back up here at the end of the show. Thank you, Isaiah. Well, we always talk to the offense, and we want to talk to the defense now. Of course, there was other players that on the stat line, the numbers may have looked greater, but we wanted to bring on some guys that have really helped get things rolling on this season. Please help me in joining now as he makes his way up, our defensive player of the game, Junior Taco, a little hot sauce on it, Williams. Bring him up here, Taco. Come on, man. Taco, good to have you in the Burger House. Did you have a burger already,
yeah,
man?
I did.
Did you put a little hot sauce on it?
Just a little bit.
But see, Taco only wants taco sauce, man. It can't be the regular hot sauce, dude. So, well, hey, talking to you, 3 tackles, 1 interception, part of that receiving or the defensive core that got 3 total picks. You were one of them. Before we get started, though, I know many friends in here may know this, but how did you get the name Taco, man?
It happened a long time ago. At my first swim meet, I was 5, and my mom, sitting right there, she wrote, "Taco burrito, what's coming out of that Speedo?" on my back. It's from a SNL skit, but I guess it just stuck ever since.
Awesome, man. Well, I got to ask you this, too. I knew a kid named Cable growing up, and he told me that he got like a free month of cable TV for his parents. So did you ever get free tacos at Taco Bell, man?
No, but, I mean, you can always dream, right?
So if you're listening, Taco Bell, just saying. We got to be careful because we can't be hooking the kids up, but just saying, man. Well, we talk about Taco. You were here last year. We had you on as player of the game last year for some plays that you made on that defensive end. How long have you been here in Georgetown now? When did you guys come here?
I've been here for a while now. We moved here whenever I was 2, so it's a big difference from Canada, but I think Georgetown's probably one of the greatest places in the world.
And from Canada?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, man. So we got some Canada in the house. Well, let's talk about your teammates on defense. You guys shut out Wiley in the final 3 quarters. You did allow an early touchdown, but after that, it was lights out on Wiley. Can you talk about some of the adjustments that were made after that first Wiley touchdown that allowed you guys to shut them out?
A lot of the adjustments we had to make was just kind of keeping our head up. After they get an early score, you kind of just got to keep pushing through. And we got a bunch of really good seniors on the team, Gage Leggett and Nick Petter. So those guys really set the tone, Johnny Neich. So it's really easy to play behind them when you got 3 really good seniors, leading the way.
Well, I'm always a big fan of the nicknames and all that kind of fun stuff. RJ, we call him RJ Andale Moreno, and now we got Taco here. And then, we talk about other guys as well that are out there making the plays happen. You had an interception as well as Gage Leggett, Isaiah Washington. On the defensive end, when you're out there and a ball is coming your way and you know that you've got an opportunity to force a turnover, what's going through your mind and after the play is made, are you kind of like, man, I can't believe that just happened?
Yeah, it's always kind of surreal, but the only thing that's going through your mind is I want to get the offense back out onto the field so they can do their work, score some touchdowns. So that's always the thing that's running through our minds.
Taco, talk about the chemistry between the defense and the offense. You guys, a lot of you, of course, are friends. You're on the same team. But in order to have a successful team, you've got to have both cylinders clicking at the same time, and you guys have done that. So talk about the friendship and the chemistry that you guys have with the offense.
I think a lot of the chemistry, it's sour in spring ball. You're going against the same guys for a really long time. You really bashing heads the entire time. So whenever the season comes around, everybody's just kind of ready to be friends, and they're ready to go out and win a bunch of football games together. So.
What are some areas after, and I know it's only been one game, but I always like to ask this to our players of the game to get your perspective. What's some areas that you feel that specifically on defense that you guys may need to improve on? I know it's tough after you only allow a team to score 7, but there's always room. What do you think in this one?
I think third downs, trying to get off the field faster. It's definitely got to be a place we got to improve on. But other than that, I think we had a really, really good first game, and we did what we needed to do to win the game. So. Well,
Isaiah said his expectations are get the W's this year. Can you expand on that? What are some of your expectations this year?
I really want to come down. I want to try to get 2 more interceptions with the season, and
per game, right? He means 2 interceptions per game.
And I just want to do whatever it takes for the team to win. That's all.
Awesome. Well, going back and looking and through your journey growing up, who has been some of your role models, Taco? Some of the guys that you look up to that's really helped you develop this passion for football, man.
Well, my mom, and not really like a role model for football, but definitely Wayne Gretzky. We have a quote up on our board. It says, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take." So I wake up every single morning and I look at that. So that always gets me going. But those 2 people definitely push
Talking
me.
about mom's in the house. Can the Williams family raise your hand? Let's give them a nice round of applause as well. Appreciate them. Taco, talk about your future plans. Again, I know here only a junior. You've still got another year after this, and I know you're not thinking that far ahead, but talk about some of your plans. Where do you see yourself, young man?
I kind of want to go to Tech with a few of my friends, but we don't know where that's going to go. But I think that's the plan for now.
Awesome, man. Well, as far as we always do, we had 1.2 million, and then after Isaiah got up here, now we have 1.3 million watching. Thank you, Isaiah. So who do you want to give a shout-out to, a little love tonight, man, before we let you go?
Shout out my mom. Shout out all the guys on defense, Gage Leggett, Johnny Neich, Nick Petter. Shout out the receiver core, Dylan Cahill, Noah Drum, Corey Coleman, Isaiah Fillmore, and shout out Jackson Siosin and Coach Dean.
Awesome. Well, stay right here because we're moving into the trivia segment. Well, let's give it up for Taco Williams. Let's give him a round of applause, our defensive player of the game. Can we have all the Georgetown guys come up, the offense and the defense, something that we started last year, and you guys are going to work together on this. And Taco, if you'll stay here as well, we'll split up the offense and the defense. It's two teams. A little fun that we do here. Last year, the defense won. Caden was pretty upset about it. And so, you know, he wants the offense to turn things around this season. So you're the only defense. Wow. Is there anybody that could come up here with Taco to help represent him? Is there any parent, any fan in the house? Because we got to have some help for this. Anybody want to get in on this trivia up here with Taco? Anybody? He's going to go solo, man. All right. So here's how it works. I'm going to ask you guys 5 questions. It's multiple choice. And this is very important because, like I said last year, the defense won. The offense, you guys have got to step it up. And, I mean, this is – we've got, what is this, man, 6-on-1 up here. So, you know, you've got the opportunity, guys. So I'm going to ask you some questions. Last year, the questions were focused on Georgetown coaching. We're going to do that in the weeks to follow, but I wanted to throw a little NFL you guys' way this first week. And just to see, we've already got players up here saying they're not going to get it, so, you know, maybe you can step aside. No, I'm just kidding, man. So if you guys, Taco, go ahead and put on a headset here. And the offensive guys put on a headset here. Hey, and real quick, actually, before you put it on, can y'all all say your name so everybody knows who's in the house tonight? Y'all can just kind of hold it and pass it on. Oh, hey, hold on, Noah. Go ahead again.
Test.
There we go, Noah. Go ahead.
Noah Drum.
Xavier Torres.
Alex Steele.
Nick Sanchez.
Isaiah Fillmore.
Dylan Cahill.
All right, there we go. I wanted to make sure. Give it up for these guys real quick, folks. I told you, man, I'm all about clapping. We got to keep things clapping up in here. So here we go with the first question. You're going to have about 10 seconds to come together and answer this. Taco doesn't have any help, so I'm not going to cheat and try and whisper the answers in his ear, though. First question here of this all-important 2018 Trivia Challenge. The winner will get a trophy at the end to present and brag to the other team. It's a very special trophy that we gave last year. You guys want to have this, so make sure that you really pay attention. First question here. Which of the following teams scored the most points in a single Super Bowl? Again, multiple choice. Number 1, Indianapolis Colts. Number 2, the San Francisco 49ers. Number 3, the Denver Broncos or the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to give you 10 seconds, guys, instead of 15. So go ahead, think about it. Pretty heavy conversations going on over here, guys. Taco's scratching his cheek and is by his lonesome self. The Lone Ranger over here, he may have the answer. Taco, go ahead, man.
I'm going to go with the Colts.
With the Colts, okay. See this. I don't know if guys, we do this to try to help team chemistry. We may be messing up team chemistry up here, man. All right, offense.
Offense is going to go with the Cowboys.
The Cowboys. Both of you, unfortunately, were wrong. No points are awarded.
Let me guess.
Is it the 49ers?
The answer was the San Francisco 49ers. We got K, Pledge, and company in the house getting it right. So far, no score here as we continue the all-important Trivia Challenge. And again, the way this works, guys, and this is why it's important, this goes all season. So it's not like if you win tonight, you win the whole thing. So don't worry. At the last coaches show, we announced the winner, but you got to start racking up the points, man. Question 2, who was the first player? This is pretty interesting because when you think of an MVP, you normally think of teams that win. Who was the first player on the losing team of a Super Bowl to win MVP? We're talking about a Super Bowl where the losing team won. Chuck Howley, Joe Montana, Desmond Howard, or Jack Scott. You've got 10 seconds. Again, Chuck Howley, Joe Montana, Desmond Howard, or Jack Scott. Which one, they were on the losing team, which one won the MVP as a loser? You got 8 seconds now. I'm hearing a lot of, I've never heard of this guy, I've never heard of this guy up here. We've got some fans in the back that they think they know the answer, so. That's why we like Trivia Challenge. Here's the names again: Chuck Howley, Joe Montana, Desmond Howard, or Jack Scott. All right, guys. I think last time we went with Taco first, so I'm going to go with the offense. Offense?
Desmond Howard.
Okay. Taco?
Desmond Howard.
Unfortunately, they both picked the same answer. Unfortunately, they're both wrong. The answer is Chuck Howley. So did anybody know that out there in the audience? Anybody? Chuck Pledge knew it. Give it up, Chuck. Chuck Pledge in the house.
He said he got the signal.
All right, so far, no one's scored anything yet, guys. So, we're going to see. We've got 3 more questions to go here in this trivia challenge. Again, come on, guys. We need y'all to get this going. Question 3. Which team drafted Brett Favre? Which team drafted Brett Favre? Was it the Green Bay Packers, the New York Jets, the Atlanta Falcons, or the Buffalo Bills? Again, Packers, Jets, Falcons, or Bills.
You want to go first on this?
You've got 10 seconds. Taco?
I want to say the Jets.
Okay.
Falcons.
Falcons and Jets. One of you guys this time was right. Someone was right. And it's going to be the offense. But these guys are smiling, so. So the offense leads 1-0. Beg your pardon? The answer was Atlanta Falcons. Offense got it right. Offense leading 1-0. Fourth question, guys. Fourth question. Who was the first player in history to earn 5 Super Bowl rings? You talk about 5 rings, man. That's a heavy hand. Was it Dan Marino, Joe Montana, Tom Brady, or Charles Haley? Again, the names: Dan Marino, Joe Montana, Tom Brady, or Charles Haley. We will let the offense go first this time. We'll give you 5 seconds. Let's do a countdown, guys. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Offense. Montana. Taco? Brady. Both of you guys, unfortunately, wrong. The answer was Charles Haley. Of course, played on the defense. Man, y'all didn't grow up playing Genesis, man. When I played Sega Genesis, you picked Charles Haley against the Patriots, and you would score 100 points on the Sega, man. Every play was a sack. That was the sack man. So the offense continues to lead here over the defense, 1-0. Fifth question. It's an opportunity for the defense to tie or for the offense to take a commanding 2-0 lead into the third week of the coaches show. Which is the only team to have an undefeated season, including the playoffs and the Super Bowl? Was it the New England Patriots, the Miami Dolphins, the Houston Texans, or the Chicago Bears? The only team to go undefeated all season and win the Super Bowl.
Can you read those again?
The teams are New England Patriots, the Miami Dolphins, Houston Texans. No idea where that came from. The Chicago Bears. I already gave y'all one of them. It definitely isn't. All right, offense. Dolphins, defense. Dolphins. You both got it right. Y'all were like, so the offense, way to go, Taco. The defense has 1. Let's give it up. The offense leads 2-1. Thank you, guys. So appreciate you guys. You got to come back to the Coaches Show next week because the questions are going to shift gears, and it's going to go back to Georgetown and your coaches. And so you want to make sure that you get them right because you may have to do some extra field work out there, guys. So let's give it up one last time for these offensive and defensive players, folks. Y'all can have a seat. And friends, we really do have a trophy that we'll present them at the end of the season. It's a very extravagant trophy that we went to monumental efforts to obtain, and it's a tradition now that will hang on at Georgetown. So, hey, and also, friends, I know you're probably getting tired of clapping, but I got a special announcement. Can we please give Ron Parks a round of applause, a photographer here in Georgetown? Ron does some amazing work. with a lot of folks here in town, but thank you, Ron, for being here as well tonight. So, well, as we move into the final part of our segment, in the future, we're going to have a recap of what's going on throughout Georgetown High School, not just football, but we're going to talk about some of the other sports in a brief way. But tonight, we won't do that. We'll bring that next week, but we will have a Booster Club Minute. So let's welcome your Georgetown Eagle Booster President, Mr. Pete Thill. Come on up, Pete. Well, Pete, we had a big event since we've started, you guys did, with the Meet the Eagles. Can you talk a little bit about the success of Meet the Eagles and how important that is for the team? Because let's be honest, it brings some opportunities to these kids for equipment and things that they may need. Let's talk about that, Pete.
Absolutely. We had fantastic support from parents, fantastic support from local businesses. We had donations that we put into raffle baskets. We had over 80 baskets put together from donations from the community, from places like Burger U, from many of the stores here on the square. Just fantastic support. I think we had close to 900 people at Meet the Eagles. We sold, I believe, over 550 meal tickets, in addition to the team, the 213 players that we fed. So it was a great night. It was the second best in terms of, it's a fundraiser, it's raising funds, and it was the second best we've ever had.
And we had like $6,400 cakes, friends. So we're talking about some cakes that I think they were laced with little gold flakes, man. So that's exciting. But
people were very generous buying those, donating them back, selling them again. So there was no $6,400 cake. There was one cake that traded 4 times for $1,600 each.
That's the way it goes. And
bite-sized pieces.
Absolutely. Well, a great event that happened there. We were there and honored and blessed to be a part of that. Pete, talk about some of the things going on at the Booster Club, and specifically this year, some changes with the leadership as it happens over the years, with different people coming and going. But talk about your role now as a president and the things that you're looking forward to the most this year with the Georgetown Booster Club.
Me personally, I am so excited to be part of Georgetown football. I think Coach Dean has a fantastic program. I think that the way that kids are taught character, in addition to just on-field abilities, our family is just huge supporters of the program and want to do anything that we can to help just create that environment for the boys, to create a sense of community. One of the things that we do, like this coaches show, this brings community. There's 35 people here in the restaurant. It just builds the community around the program. Like, it's an insulator around it. We are huge supporters of that. The board this year for the Football Booster Club, Brian Hawkins is one person that was on it last year. And I believe apart from that, the whole board is new. We are generally junior parents, so we should have several years of the same thing going so we can have continuity. Awesome. Ideally, that's our hope for the board going forward next year as well.
Well, some things that happened, many of you know, some of you may not know, especially those on the web stream. Talk about the tailgates that you guys have. Of course, going to be a good one here Friday versus Waco. Talk about that and how people can get involved and eat some good food. Let's be honest, that's why we
Absolutely. We have a schedule that is on social media where each week's tailgate is planned out already, so you can go and see where week 5 is going to be, where week 8 is going to be. We pick a different restaurant if we're on the road. We tailgate at home for home games. Last week was at Hefsburgers in Abilene. We had 60 people came and ate at that place. We kind of took over the restaurant. It was all blue. This week is our first home game. We'll be serving chicken fajitas Friday night. They first serve at 5:30. The tailgating happens next to the stadium by the baseball field. There's a shed. We have a storage area there. They'll have a couple smokers there. Roland Moreno is the pit boss, the tailgate boss. So he'll be cooking that with his guys, chicken fajitas. Everybody's welcome. Come. We'll have a donation bucket if you feel like giving some money towards it. So we'll be doing that. I also want to remind everybody there is a pep rally at 9:30 at the school on Friday. We'll be doing tailgating. That starts at 5:30. If you want to park back by where the baseball field is, we're selling parking passes back there. If you pull up next to the football building, go towards the baseball field, they will be selling parking passes. It's $50 for the year. So it's $10 a game to park back there. You'll be able to walk through the tailgating. When we do the tailgating, about 6 o'clock, 6:15, the team comes walking through there. The band sets up and plays. The team walks 2 at a time through. It's a pretty cool thing to see. It's kind of gives you goosebumps. You get excited watching the boys come over.
Well, Pete, as everybody in here knows and those on the web stream, want to remind folks just how blessed we are here in Georgetown with the facilities that we have. I mean, just a world-class organization with Georgetown Independent School District. The facilities are just simply phenomenal.
Yep.
We call Southwestern University now on SHN Sports, and we're honored and blessed for that opportunity. That is the largest stadium in D3 football, and we've got it right here in Georgetown, Texas, that our high school is playing at. So, Pete, appreciate your leadership and the collaboration with the Georgetown Booster Club.
We
So thank
appreciate
you
your
so
support,
much, Pete.
Rob. Thank you.
Once again, Pete Thill, let's give a round of applause to Mr. Pete for all that he does as we sign off here on the Eagle Nation Coaches Show, week number 2. Appreciate all of you coming out. Remember to get to Georgetown High School, right behind the high school there at Birkelbach Field, Georgetown Athletic Complex. Going to be a great game. Come out 7:30, come early, get some food, fill your bellies, and have fun. Remember, friends, I always like to end every broadcast to remind you that we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other. I encourage you, provide a word of encouragement, lend a hand of support. Somebody out there tonight needs you guys. Until next week, we will be right back here at the Burger House. One last round of applause for the Burger Ladies. Thank y'all so much. We will be back here next week. Same time, same place. Eat a different burger. Bring your friends. Don't bring any cats and dogs. Come out. We love you. Thank you, Georgetown. Appreciate you.